Very good evening to all of you. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes, thank you. So today is our last class. We will go on to the fifth unit. The rest part of the fifth unit today we'll discuss about.
So this is the BIM class, right?
It's BIM class.
Okay.
80. Again. So
No, actually, sir, why I ask means actually in the timetable it's given that business, economics, and environment class will be there. That's why I asked. Okay, no issue. No issue.
Today is Sunday, na?
Yes, sir.
Sunday, my class was being given. I thought yesterday that there was the. Okay.
No problem, sir. Please carry on, sir.
Okay, we will continue, sir. No issue. No issue. We will continue.
The thing is that today we'll just have an overview regarding the management functions in insurance companies. Particularly, we'll discuss about some of the personal management aspects in insurance business. And so in that regard, I think as all of you know about the general management system, so in the same fashion, since the insurance companies are also being considered as business organizations, so whatever management functions are there being associated with any of the commercial organizations, that is also being associated with the insurance business. So in the management functions, generally the terms like planning, coordinating, directing, all these things are being involved. But thing is that in business of insurance, whenever we try to find out what are the different management functions, we generally look upon the personnel management as one of the important issues being involved in the business of insurance, because it's a service-oriented business. So how the personnel being appointed or recruited by the insurance company will go on to provide the services to the customers, that is much more important to be known on our part. So today we'll just have an overview regarding what this personnel management is all about, and particularly related to the insurance sector, how this personnel management is functioning. And as you know, whenever we talk about the personnel management, I think you must have gone through the HRM paper, that it basically covers a wide range of activities, starting from the recruitment process to the selection to training to recruitment, like that. And in those cases, it is the responsibility of the personnel department, which is generally considered to be part of the HR department, to take care of all these things so that they can well train, well develop the personnel who are being involved in the process of discharging the services to the customers. And accordingly, because insurance business is considered to be a service-oriented business, so this personnel management has to be done in a proper fashion, in a proper manner, so that the customers can get satisfaction to their utmost level. So I'm now going to show you some slides through which we can first of all point out what are the different management functions, which, just like as I said, all other organizations, they are similar in case of insurance business. And then after we'll go on to find out the different aspects of personnel management. So I'm sharing some slides with you. Please go through the slides. Is it visible to all of you? Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this slide basically shows the managerial functions. As I said to you, it is related to the general management functions, which is applicable to any sorts of commercial organization. You might have gone through it in your management principles paper. So generally, the planning, organizing, direction, and controlling, these are the 4 different aspects which the managerial functions covers, because any of the managerial personnel, they need to focus on all these areas. So in case of planning, as you know, without proper planning and the execution of those plans are needed to be done in a proper fashion. Therefore, in planning, actually, we want to decide in advance what, when, where, why, how, and how it is to be done. So whatever we want to do, we need to plan it beforehand. So for future purposes, we need to do it in advance. So that is the reason why in case of planning, we generally take into consideration these areas. Then come the organizing part, and it is basically a tool for achieving the objectives in a planned manner. Because organization of whatever we have planned, we need to organize, or we need to construct it in an organized manner. As a result of which, what is required on the part of the executors is that if they organize the things which they have planned, then not properly. So in case of organizing, we generally take into consideration basic or common purpose of the organization. That means preparing a task, preparation of a task force, allocation of work to individuals, integration effort, coordination of work of an individual with that of the department. So proper coordination, proper integration has to be made, has to be done. We can well attain the objectives that we have planned for. Then direction. So there has to be a proper direction. The manager has to show the proper directions to all its employees. So direction means the limitation of organized actions and stimulating the people to work. So organized action and stimulating the people to work. Then comes the controlling. It means the regulating the activities of the personnel with the personnel plans. So this is what we need to know about the management function, which is basically being applicable to every organization, and insurance as an organization is no exception to it. We can do that. Then comes the personal management part. In case of personal management, what happens, as you know, what personal management is, it is a part of the HR, and the main objective of an organization, is basically to get maximum satisfaction out of the available resources. As you know, the resources are limited, and we need to allocate the resources in such a fashion whereby we can get the maximum result out of it. Therefore, personal management primarily concerns with the organization of men, and its main objective may be summarized as to utilize the available human resources in such a way so as to get the work done effectively to the maximum satisfaction of the individual worker. Because whoever works for us, the satisfaction of the personnel is a must, because unless and until the person who is working for the organization gets satisfied, he or she cannot deliver the maximum result to the organization. As a result of which, it is the responsibility of the organization to ensure that whoever are working with the organization, they are being satisfied properly. Then coming to the objectives of personnel management, maximum individual general objectives, maximum individual development. It is one of the basic objectives of the personnel management, that whoever individuals are working with the organization, the individuals must have to be developed properly. And it is the responsibility of the organization that it has to provide all sorts of developmental facilities to the employees. Then desirable working relationship between employer and employee. The relationship between the employer and the employee should be desirable. That means there has to be healthy relationship to be maintained between the relationship between the employer and the employee. Because if the employees are not satisfied with the employer, or if the employer is not satisfied with the employee, then productivity level will definitely be affected. And if productivity level affected, it will hamper the overall business. Then effective molding of human resources. So whatever human resources are being available, you need to mold the human resources effectively. You need to construct, you need to develop the human resources in a proper fashion. These are the general objectives of personnel management. With these objectives, the personnel department of the organization basically works. Then some specific objectives. Apart from the general objectives, there are some specific areas on which the personnel management department has to put focus on. And generally, the specific objectives are supposed to be many. Here we have just selected some of the specific objectives. Specific objective basically includes the recruitment of right people for the right work. First specific objective. Because in insurance business, the basic aim is to maximize the sales of the policies. The basic aim is to convince the prospective customers in a proper fashion so that the customer can be able to purchase the product. So it is generally marketing oriented. So whenever the selection has to be done, it has to be done in such a fashion whereby the marketing skills which are required on the part of a marketer or on the part of an executive, that should be fulfilled by that candidate who is supposed to be recruited. In the similar fashion, since insurance organization is also working as a commercial organization, and being an organization, it has different facets. It has its own finance division, it has its own operational division, research and development wing. So for all these different wings, different divisions, different sets, skill set people are required. So it's not that everybody is having marketing acumen so that they can be recruited only in the insurance industry. So for financial work, people with knowledge, adequate knowledge on finance, people with financial skills are supposed to be recruited. In the similar fashion, in the operational in a department or operational division, people having that skill which is required in the operational division must have to be recruited, must have to be given proper training, and accordingly they can give you the maximum productivity. So as per skills, as per requirement, you need to recruit people. Second is proper orientation and introduction of new employees. This is a common feature. Whenever you are new to any organization, you are supposed to be provided with the orientation program, whereby you will be oriented about the organization, about the nature of job that you are supposed to do. So that orientation program generally takes place either for a period of 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 15 days, like that. After that, you need to be introduced properly to the organization. What is your requirement by the organization, what you are supposed to do for the organization, what's your productivity level that the organization is asking from you. So all these things have to be done at the very first hand. So this is the part of the personnel department to look after. That whenever new employees are being recruited or new employees are supposed to join the organization, they should be introduced properly about the organization, and they should be given a proper orientation regarding the nature of job that they are supposed to do, as well as regarding the culture of the organization where they are supposed to work. The third one is your suitable training facilities for better job performances. Training is a must, as you know. Uh, with the passage of time, the technology gets changed, the environment gets changed, the moods of the people gets changed, the preferences of the people changed. So in insurance business, you need to come out with certain products to meet the needs and requirements of the people. So what sort of needs the people have at present? It is not mandatory that type of preferences, that type of need will continue forever with the people. So that will go on changing. In that context, it is also the responsibility of the employees that they need to be updated. They need to change themselves. They need to adapt to the changes that takes place within the environment in which they are doing their work. So in that context, it is important on the part of an organization to provide proper training to all its employees. Because if employees are trained, then only they can be productive. If suppose you are using certain technologies and your employees are not well versed with that technology, then the technology, with the help of that technology, you cannot get the expected result. So you need to train your people regarding that technology. So as many things go on changing with the passage of time, therefore, to adapt to those changes, it is required that the employees working in an organization must have to be trained accordingly. And in insurance companies, this type of training facility is being given from time to time to all its employees, because with the change in the requirements of the people, with the needs of the people, the products are supposed to be changed. There has to be change in the products, and those who are in the marketing charge of the product, they need to be aware about the newness of the product. They need to be aware about the new products also. So for that, training facilities has to be provided. And if you want to suppose expedite your number of employees, then in that case, you need to refresh your behavior. You need to come out with good attitude. You need to come out with good convincing skills. So all these things can be imparted into the employees through the training, because through training the employees actually gets motivated, and on the basis of that motivation that they get from the training, they can work properly, they can work effectively as well as efficiently, and accordingly their productivity level is supposed to increase. So if that happens, then automatically the organization will be at the gainer side. Then fourth one is your provision for better working conditions and other facilities. It is a must for all organizations, including the insurance organization. This is the specific objective of the personnel department, because this department is in charge with the employees of the organization, because employees basically are related to the human resources, and personnel department is in charge of ensuring the effectiveness of the human resources working with an organization. That is the reason why the responsibility of the personnel department is to ensure that the employees working with the organization are being given with proper work conditions, better working conditions, and other facilities which they require. So without better working condition, if the working condition is not supposed to be good within an organization, that will affect the psychology of the customers, that will affect the mentality of the customers, the sorry, not the customers, rather the employees, and accordingly the employees might not be able to provide that much of result which they are expected to provide. So working condition, sound working conditions, better working condition is a must to be provided to the personnel who are working with the organization, and it is the responsibility of the personnel department that it has to ensure that whatever working conditions are being provided by the organization, it is supposed to be better as compared to their competitors. Then provision of sound, fair and effective wage and salary administration, because whoever works for you, they are supposed to get some remuneration. The human resources can be in the form of unskilled resources or as well as skilled resources. So unskilled resources, human resources, they are supposed to get the remuneration in the form of wages, and the skilled resources, they are supposed to get the remuneration in the form of salaries. So proper wage system, proper salary system, effective salary system, if is in place, then automatically it can motivate a lot the employees to work for the organization, because ultimately the people are working for the organization for the sake of money, because with the help of that money they can go on to meet their needs and requirements. They can go on to purchase the goods and services which will ultimately meet their requirements, meet their needs. So for that they require money. And if an employee is working hard, he or she is supposed to get a good amount of remuneration for his hard work. And if the organization is not giving that much of remuneration which an employee is supposed to get, then automatically the employee will get demotivated. So that will affect the productivity level of the employee, which ultimately will hamper the business interest of the organization. That is the reason why, as an organization, it is the responsibility of the personnel department to look at the situation that whatever wage policy or remuneration policy is in place of the company, that is considered to be effective and sound. Then sixth one is maintaining good relationship with the employees. So there has to be a cohesiveness among the employees. There has to be a cohesiveness between the employer and the employee. There should not be any bossism in the organization, because all these things will automatically improve the work culture of the organization, which can attract more and more good employees into the organization. So good relations has to be maintained, and it is the responsibility of the personnel department that it has to ensure that good relationship exists among the employees as well as between the employer and the employees. Then personnel research. The personnel department must have to do a lot of research on the personnel who are working for the organization, or on the personnel who they supposed to bring to the organization. So what type of personnel are required for what type of work? That is the lookout of the personnel department, and accordingly they can construct the recruitment policy, the selection policy. So you can find that organization to organization, the selection policy is different. Organization to organization, the recruitment policy is different. It is because the requirement of all the organization are not the same. So as per your requirement, you need to get the employees, or you need those type of employees who can serve the purpose for you. That is the reason why in the personnel department they need to do a lot of research, because for what type of job requirement, what type of personnel are required, what should be the qualification criteria, what should be the selection criteria. Similarly, if you are working with the organization and you are working hard, you are doing your best, you are providing the best of the productivity to the organization is getting benefited because of you. So in that case, as an employee, you need to get promoted to higher level. So that type of research also has to be done by the personnel department regarding the promotional aspect. So what should be the yardstick on the basis of which one should get promoted? It's not that it is because of the good relationship with the management that one gets promotion who is not supposed to get, but who is supposed to get the promotion, he or she is deprived of that promotion. So it will affect the mentality of the employees. So research has to be done to find out or to identify the yardsticks on the basis of which the promotional aspects will be carried out, and that should be transmitted to the employees also, so that they can get motivated. Yes, these are the yardsticks, we need to achieve these yardsticks so that we can get promoted to higher level. So this is the role of the personnel management department. This is the management function which every organization like insurance organization have to perform. Then to give good impressions to the man who is leaving the organization. And basically, after working with the organization, when you get retired, or if you get another chance with another good chance with another organization, you want to leave the organization, you must live happily. It is the responsibility of the personnel department that they need to ensure that whoever are leaving the organization, either as a retired person or because of getting a good opportunity in some other companies, so they should leave the organization happily. They should not feel that that organization is a very bad organization, that's why I left. So this point basically indicates proper work culture has to be maintained, and it is the responsibility of the personnel management department also to ensure the maintenance of proper work culture in the organization. So these are the specific objectives which the personnel management department must have to attain so that it can ensure the smooth functioning of the organization. And you can find that whatever objectives we have discussed, most of the objectives are also applicable in case of all sorts of organizations. It is not applicable only in case of insurance business, but to all sorts of organizations, this sort of objectives of the personnel management is applicable. Because insurance organization is supposed to be a service-oriented organization, it provides the services to the people who have purchased the policies from it. Therefore, it is utmost important on the part of the business, on the part of the insurance organizations, that they must have to attain this type of objectives, definitely. Then coming to the nature of personnel management, if you think of the nature of personnel management, then you can find that the personnel management basically includes the function of employment, development, and compensation. We have already pointed out it while discussing about the objectives. What should be the employment criteria? That means it is related to the selection and recruitment process. Development basically related to the training and development which is being provided. And compensation basically refer to the remuneration part. So these functions are performed primarily by the personnel management in consultation with other departments. So you can find that there is a broader area of broader aspect of personnel management. This department has to look after many things, starting from the employment to the compensation part. Everything has to be taken care of. Along with compensation, they also have to look after the promotional part, which can also come under development category. So employment, development, and compensation, these are the major functions of personnel management. And generally, the personnel management department, in consultation with other departments, generally have to perform these primary functions. Then personnel management is an extension to general management. It is concerned with promoting and stimulating competent workforce to make their fullest contribution to the concern. So whoever are working for the organization, it is the responsibility of the personnel management department that they need to take out the maximum out of their employees. Whenever we are talking about the human resources who are working with an organization, maybe with an insurance organization, every organization needs to extract the best out of its employees. They have given employment to you. They have recruited you with the hope that you will prove to be an asset for them. And that can happen only when you will give them the maximum result that they are expecting from you. If they are giving you 1 lakh rupees as compensation per month as your remuneration, then they are expecting benefits worth 10 times of that. And if you are not able to provide that much of benefit to them, then there is a requirement of development on your part. So the personnel management department must have to ensure all these things, and basically it is concerned with the promotion and stimulation of competent workforce. So whatever workforce the organization will comprise of, it is the responsibility of the personnel management to ensure that the entire workforce is competent enough as well as is uh, skilled enough, adequate enough to attain the objectives that the organization has set for it. So that type of competency have to be stimulated. Competency have to be promoted in the or inculcated in the employees of the organization. Then personnel management exists to advise and assist the line managers in personnel matters. So as you know, there are different departments, and in each and every department there are different line managers. So it is the responsibility of the personnel management to advise these line managers as well as to assist these line managers, particularly in relation to the human resources who are working with those departments. Therefore, personnel department is a staff department of an organization because it is dealing with all the human resources working in different departments of the organization. That is the reason why you can call it as the staff department. Personnel management lays emphasis on action rather than making lengthy schedules, plans, work methods. So planning is not generally being done by the personnel department, rather they believe in action. So they cannot go on to make lengthy schedules, lengthy plans, or lengthy work methods. And the problems and grievances of people at work can be solved more effectively through rational personnel policies. So that is the reason why from time to time you can find that organizations are coming out with employee benefit policies, as a result of which the grievances as well as the problems that the workforce is being faced with or the human resources are being faced with in the organization, that can be sorted out amicably. So by taking into consideration the needs and requirement of the workforce, the organization in due consultation with the personnel department must have to come out with favorable workers policy, favorable personnel policy. The next nature of personnel management is that it is human orientation, and it tries to help the workers to develop their potential fully to the concern for which they are working. Here by concern means the organization. So generally the personnel management department is human oriented because it is dealing with the human resources working with the organization, and through its functions it generally wants to inculcate the seriousness, the devotion, the potentiality of the existing workforce so that the existing workforce can do better and accordingly can reap benefits for the organization. It also motivates the employees through its effective incentive plan so that the employees provide fullest cooperation. So incentive, as you know, is basically a form of compensation being given for your exemplary work or for your hard work, for your dedication, or for giving benefits to the organization. And out of the benefits that the organization reaps, it generally goes on to provide a part in the form of incentives. And incentives basically incentivizes or basically stimulates the human resources to work better. So if you perform well, you are supposed to get an incentive which will be over and above your basic salary. So that is a reward which can be provided to the employees for their better work or for their contribution to the benefits of the organization. So personnel management department basically motivates the employees through its incentive policy. If there is a proper incentive policy, people will be motivated to get that incentive, and as a result of which they will go on to work better, which ultimately will benefit the organization as a whole. So all these are related to general personnel management, when that means personnel management in general organizations also. And since insurance companies are working as commercial organizations, we consider them as business organizations. That is the reason why the personnel management plays an important role in the effective functioning of an insurance organization. if you look at the principles of personnel management, then you can find that these are the different principles which all the personnel management department of all the organization, including the service-oriented business organization, must have to follow. So in general, the principle of maximum individual development, through which this principle basically calls the personnel management to ensure the overall development of each and every individual employee of the organization. So through provision of training and development, through provision of good incentive policies, through provision of promotion, the development of the individuals who are working for the insurance organization can be ensured. So this principle has to be abided by the personnel management, that it is their responsibility to ensure the maximum individual development. Then principle of scientific selection. At the time of selection, selection should not be made arbitrarily. Rather, there has to be some scientific approach for selection process. And this scientific approach must have to be adopted by the personnel management. Then principle of high morale. As I said to you, the employee morale should be maintained at a higher level, because that will motivate them to work. So you should be able to, the personnel management should be able to create such an environment in the organization which can help in maintaining high morale of the employees, because that can help the employees, that can boost the employees to work better for the organization. Principle of effective communication, there should not be any communication gap. So it is the personnel department which is acting as an interface between the employees and the employer. So you can directly put your grievances, put your problems before the personnel department, which can transmit it to the board of directors directly, and accordingly it can be settled amicably. So the responsibility of the personnel department on account of this principle is that it should ensure there should not be any communication gap between the employer and the principle of team spirit, principle of dignity of labor, principle of fair reward. So all these things we have discussed while discussing the objectives as well as the functions. And these are the basic things which I think you must have gone through in your HRM paper also, because in HRM you must have gone through the personnel management part also. So these are the principles which the personnel management department of an insurance organization, like any other organization, has to follow. So this part is basically about all these things. Here the more focus is on the personnel management, particularly related to the recruitment, selection, promotion, like this, and the functions that the personnel management generally perform. So the management functions of insurance companies covers all these areas. So this is what is about your syllabus. We have completed it. Now I'm going to show you some questions. You please take the screenshot of that, because I have made it by taking into consideration all your 5 units. So these are some of the questions which you can go through. If you find any sorts of problem in that, you can call me. My number is with you. You can call. Is it visible to all of you? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So these are some of the questions which I have taken by taking into consideration all your 5 units. You please take a screenshot of it. It includes both long questions and short questions. Major questions are these. Go on to prepare all these questions. I think some of the questions might be asked, because these are the important questions which I thought can come in your examination out of the 5 modules. So first question basically is about the role of the banks, commercial banks, and it is written that banks contribute to economic growth of a region in their role as intermediary? Explain this statement. How, by acting as a financial intermediary, the commercial banks help in in enhancing the economic development of a country. That thing you need to analyze. So in that context, you can write that by way of providing loans to different sectors, it can help in enhancing the industrialization process. It can help in setting up of different industries, which ultimately can go on to increase employment opportunities, which in turn lead to generation of income. With the generation of income, people will go on to spend and accordingly demand more. That will help in ensuring more production. So all these things together will help in development of the economy. So you need to analyze. The second question is about state and explain the principal functions of commercial banks. What other services do they perform for individuals and businesses? Principal functions I have told to you, primary function and secondary functions. Apart from acceptance of deposits and provision of loans and advances as well as investments, they are being involved in some other types of functions, like they provide the locker facilities to us by ensuring the safekeeping of our valuables. They also provide us some other financial services. So under one roof, we can get maximum financial services from the bank. Apart from that, what other areas the banking services basically include, those things you need to include. Then third one is state and explain the different forms of bankers advances. As I have told to you, secured advances and unsecured advances. Those two things you need to write here. And what precautions should a banker take while making unsecured advances? In case of unsecured advances, as you know, there is no security being kept against it. So heavy risk or high risk is there in case of such loans. So what should be the criteria basing upon which such unsecured loans will be provided by the bank? That thing you need to explain. Then comes a question related to your insurances. Good faith lies at the root of the insurance contract. So it is related to the principle of utmost good faith, as we have already pointed out the fact that the relationship between the insured and the insurer is that the insurer is having full faith on insured and the insured is also having full faith on the insurer. It means that whatever informations are supposed to be disclosed by the insured or by the insurer, those informations are to be taken as truth by the opposite parties. Clear? Then what are the powers of RBI under Banking Regulation Act? We have already pointed out that by discussing the BR Act. You can also get that in the notes also. So these are some of the questions you can go through, and if you face any sort of problem regarding any of these questions, you can freely ask me. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for all your patience hearing and for all these 10 days you attended my class. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
No, sir. Thank you, sir. Many thanks to you, sir. You supported, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
তোমার চিহ্ন আছে আমাদের কাছে